leaving yourself enough room for expansion of the oil. And the other thing is, if you have an electric stove like I do at home, it's a little tricky to regulate the temperature. You know, you can turn it on high to get the oil going and get it good and hot, and then it's just a matter of experimentation. What setting on your stove will maintain about 375, okay? And I fry these a few at a time, maybe 4, possibly 6 at a time, okay? And what you'll notice is, when you do this, you watch the temperature on your thermometer, you put 4 or 5 of these fritters, hush puppies, in the oil, the temperature of the oil drops. So you can see, and you learn through experimentation, how many of these you can put into this pan of oil. See, you want to maintain the temperature at about 350, okay? It's not that difficult. It's just, you know, it takes practice, like anything else. Okay, now, I have the okra, and what I want to do is take a handful of this okra and put it into this bowl is round, it doesn't have a corner, but I'm going to pretend it has a corner. I'm going to just put this on one of the edges of this fritter batter. I'm going to stir it in and mix it in. The reason I'm doing this is that I want to show you, and I want to make these with and without the okra. Okay, so I mix that up, all right? That batter is mixed in there, and I take a teaspoon. In this case, this is an ice teaspoon. It has a long handle, so you can see this has a fairly long handle. It'll come in handy because I'm going to take a teaspoon of this batter, okay, just about that much, all right, and I'm going to drop it into the oil, all right, and as I'm doing this, I'm going to increase this flame just a little bit. And what will happen is that the hotter flame will keep the oil at a temperature of 350 or above, a little bit better. Now I'll take a couple of spoons from this part of the pan without the okra, okay, and I will stop there. Now you can see here, if you can, I'll tilt this just a little bit, but you can see that the level of the oil, obviously when you put something in, the level of the oil comes up, so it's closer to the top of the pan. Another thing that you don't want to do, I have all these don'ts and cautions. Don't have your hands wet. Don't have any of your utensils wet. So if water falls into the oil, it hits the oil, it boils instantly, and it can splatter, and you can get some burns, okay? So what I do is, when I'm frying this, I just gently turn these fritters over, these hush puppies, all right? I let them get a little brown. Okay, they're getting there now. Okay, so when I take them out of the oil, when they're cooked, I'll put them onto this plate, and I have several layers of paper towels on this plate. And what will happen is I scoop them out, and I'll put these hush puppies here, and the oil will drain off, and I'll take another paper towel, and I'll just kind of try to get rid of some of the excess oil, okay? Nothing like fried food. I don't eat it very often, but boy, it's really good. And once these are done, I'm going to show you how to make the cream gravy with sage. And this will be good. It's one of the staples of Southern cooking. So you can hear them. Now if I had water, which I'm not going to do, it's dangerous, I put a little water in there, you'd hear a violent splattering. There'd be oil all over the place. I'd ruin my clothes. I'd get a burn. So be careful. You know, this is, you know, it's a little tricky. So just, you know, take it easy. Okay, while these are frying, I'm going to show you how to make a roux. Okay, a roux is a blend of an oil with flour. Okay. I don't know if you can see this. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll switch burners real quick. Let that fry. All right, now I take a little saute pan, a little frying pan, warm it up, and I take a little bit of oil, maybe a couple of tablespoons of cooking oil. Okay, you can use butter, you can use oil. For this, I've chosen a blended cooking oil. Okay, I take a little bit of flour. Now what I want to do here, there's no exact precise measurement. I want to make a thick paste. We've done a roux here before. I remember we did a show where we made a nice brown roux. That's also a southern thing. So I take more flour, mix it in. I want to make almost like a paste. Okay, now real quick, I just turn these guys. These fritters are getting there. Okay. Take a little more flour. I don't want this to brown. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I'm not using butter. Butter browns will make a browner roux faster. Okay, you see the texture, you see the consistency? I guess you can see that pretty good. See, it's almost like similar to mashed potatoes, not quite so thick. Okay, I'll shut that off and set this aside. Now what I want to do is heat some milk. Okay, first of all, get these fritters. Now see how these are getting brown on the edges? Can you see that? Nice and shiny. Okay, all right. I'll pull these out of the hot oil, put them on my paper towels, and in a second I'll show you how I get a little of the oil off of there. Okay, got a few of these guys. All right, I'll get another paper towel. Okay, and I just take and dab these. Okay, just real quick, and you'll see that the oil will drain off, and your paper towels will have some oil in there. Now, it always happens when you deep fry something. Okay, so now I'll take 2 cups of milk. All right. The reason I'm doing this in this pan instead of a saucepan is so you can see it. Okay, basically. All right, you can see real easy. It'll also cook a little faster in this pan, but I want to show you how this will thicken up and how the roux will help it to thicken. Okay, this is the basis of this cream gravy right here. It's just milk and roux, thickens it up. I'm going to add a little bit of sage, a little salt and pepper. Okay, and do I have salt and pepper with me? No. I'll be right back. I'm going to duck out of your picture, and I'll come back with some salt and pepper. Okay, so here I am. Always something. Okay, so when this milk gets warm, when it starts to simmer, I thicken it up with the roux. Okay, sometimes you'll see instructions in a cookbook where it tells you to make the roux in the pan and then add the milk, and then it'll thicken up. But that's a little bit different. This is not an exact recipe here that I'm working with. What I want to show you is how this gravy will thicken up, and I'm going to add the roux in stages, a little bit at a time, and let this thicken. Okay, so I'm going to heat this at a full blast, full rolling boil, and in the meantime I'll take about a teaspoon of black pepper, okay, salt to taste, which in my case is maybe half a teaspoon, okay, and sage. This is ground sage, okay. This is a spice that you know, often doesn't come up. You know, a lot of times in Italian cooking it's quite popular, but this for this gravy is just excellent. Okay, mix that all in. So this is starting to come to a boil. All right, you can see around the edges it was coming to a boil before I started to stir it. Okay, there you go. There you go. See right there. You can see. Okay, now I'll take a little bit of this roux. Just put a little bit of that in there. Stir it around. And as this boils, it'll start to thicken, and you'll see how it thickens.